Hello, I'm Game Retainer, and in this video I'll be going over some of my picks for the best POIs to move into in the forest region. Don't ask why I'm in the desert, I just wanted to chill here. With that said, let's jump straight in. First on the list is Crackerbook. If you're playing on Navezgane, you can find this place at 1369 East, 697 North. Now, this has the same sort of structural integrity as a lot of the other bigger stores. So, Working Stiffs and Savage Country and all those stores, they tend to have pretty solid rooftops. The reason I've chosen this Crackerbook is because of its close proximity to Dyersville. It's great for looting. This isn't really a base you'd have for very long, but for the first couple of hordes, it does the job. It's a sturdy building, you can control rooftop access, you can fire from above. It's got quite a lot going for it. For me, on the times where I have used this base, I tend to settle in here, and then use the topper here to fire down on. I even build off the front a little bit, just so I can sort of shoot enemies from above. It doesn't matter too much whether they get inside, because you'll be on the roof. You can use any of the big stores, this is just my preferred one. Also, it's a bookshop, so you're going to find some useful books and magazines inside. Up next, we're moving to the opposite side of Dyersville. Similar to the previous entry, this Working Stiff Tools is located in a prime area, really. With it being quite close to Dyersville, it's also closer to Trader Joel, who I believe is over there somewhere. When compared to the other one, I do prefer the Crackerbook, but that's just me. I'm a little bit weird like that. This arguably is a more fitting location to survive the first few hordes. Similar to the Crackerbook, it's made out of concrete, it's pretty sturdy. You can usher zombies around the back and up the ladder, and this allows you to have pretty decent control. You can build a little firing zone on here, so you can shoot from zombies. Providing that the zombies do have a path to get to you, you'll have no issues taking on the first couple of horde nights on the roof of this Working Stiff Tools. If you're playing on Navezgane, you can find this place at 694 East, 627 North. Up next, I've got Aldos Cabinet. I'm almost certain I'm pronouncing that wrong, so feel free to correct me in the comment section below. But if you're on Navezgane, you can find this place at 737 West, 946 North. Now, the reason it's made this list is its walls are relatively sturdy, not as sturdy as the previous two entries, but still sturdy enough. But it's very close, or relatively close, to Trader Rect. So this is a good place for completing missions, buying and selling, and all that good stuff. As for the actual horde nights themselves, there are one of two places that I usually plant myself. The first place is on the roof here, where I can shoot down once I've broken these and get any zombies coming in. I throw a couple of spikes down there, a couple of hatches, try and hold them at bay a little bit, and I can fire from here. Or, and this is my preferred one, I build a staircase to the roof of this little building here. While it's not particularly sturdy, zombies won't hit this flooring. Providing there's a way up via a staircase, they'll use the stairs. I usually put a couple of hatches down here, build off the back of it. The time that it takes the zombies to get to me, and because only a certain amount can spawn in at any given moment, I can pick them off one by one pretty easily without getting too overwhelmed. Not only that, but if I'm feeling brave, there is the Bear Den, which is a great place, I'd say early-ish, to get loot. Just be careful, because there are bears inside. But the bakery too is a pretty good place to get some food during the early stages of the game. Up next is Cell Tower 1. Now, this location can be a pretty good forever base. It does, however, come with a drawback, and that is its distance from the traders. But on Navezgane, it can be found at 357 East, 998 North. It's not very big, which is kind of what you want, especially in the early stages of the game. You can always expand it later on, but keeping things small and easier to control is usually your best bet. It does have walls, and while they're not the best, if you open up this gate here and build some sort of trap defense, you can usher zombies through so they're only going to use that entrance, and while they're doing that, you can plonk yourself up on the roof and pick them off one by one. It doesn't take that much effort to turn this into a week 1, week 2, or even week 3 horde base. After that, you will need to more or less take this apart and rebuild, but it's kind of prime flat land, making for a quite easy build. As I said, its distance from anything of note is its biggest flaw, so maybe save this location and wait until you've got yourself some mode of transport to get around a bit quicker. Up next is a very popular place. It's NFD Engine 4. A Navezgane. It's located at 1080 East, 457 North. It is literally just outside Dyersville. You can see the hospital there. It is also pretty close to both the burnt forest and desert biome, and you can see the snow biome just up there. It's very, very sturdy. It's got strong walls, as you can see. While they're not the strongest, they're pretty easy to upgrade, and it doesn't take that much building in order to sort of get yourself into a position where you can take on some of the later stage hordes. The only thing I would suggest is removing a couple of rungs of this ladder, so zombies can't get up, but yet if you need to make a quick escape, you can just jump through here and away you go. You do have the bell tower, which offers you a pretty good vantage point, and also an emergency jump off point should you need to escape. But a lot of players choose this as their initial horde base, and then they build off of it. It is pretty big, it's easy to take over, but despite its large size, because it's taller than it is wide, it's not so difficult to maintain. It's not something that I use a lot, but when I do, I realise just how handy it is. Up next, we're going to take a look at Allistair's cabin. This place can be found at 1331 West, 350 North. I feel it often gets overlooked by a lot of players. It can be a surprisingly powerful horde base with a little bit of work. The flooring itself, or the base level, is pretty sturdy. You will need to fix the hole, but that doesn't take too much effort. While the upstairs isn't exactly well fortified, it can be. It really doesn't take a lot to get this into a more sort of tip-top shape. If you break this piece here and make a staircase going down and remove the sides, patch everything else up, then what you've made is a pretty fantastic horde base. I would recommend punching out the window here and building like a firing platform. It's quite a good location, you know, with it being close to Trade Direct. I definitely recommend giving this one a go, especially for newer players, because it is one of the lowest tier POIs to clear out. So if you clear this place on day one, you're looking at 4 or 5 zombies max. As I said, it will take a bit of work, but that's not really much of an issue. If you find the water purifier helmet mod, then you've got unlimited water close by. This location is pretty perfect in my opinion, and there's plenty of flat land around it to expand. Up next, we have Camp Carwhal. Now, this location is not going to be a great end game base, but for your first 2 or maybe even 3 hordes, this is a pretty safe place, especially if you open up the doors and sort of funnel zombies towards you. Providing, as I've said a couple of times, providing that they have a path to you, you'll have no issue with them breaking down the walls early on. Not such a great base late game, but early game it can be pretty beneficial. It is located at 1669 West, 569 North. One of the biggest reasons why I've got this one on the list is its close proximity to Savage Country. Just a little north, you'll find a fairly large Savage Country, and as most veteran players will know, this is the best place to come and farm for legendary parts, so being quite close to it is always pretty handy. Not only that, but you are pretty close to the water, and just the other side of the water, you got Trade Direct. So all in all, a pretty decent location. Up next, I've got Ranger Station Delta. This location is slightly north of Camp Carwhal. It's located at 1707 West, 771 North. It's even closer to the Savage Country than the previous entry. But that's not why it's on this list. The reason why it's on this list is because of the main tower itself. While it's not particularly big, the base is pretty sturdy. With a little fixing up, this could be a very viable horde base. Now, it will take a bit of work. Preferably, you may want to have this as your storage base, but depending on what work you're going to put in, if you're going to put out a little sort of shooting platform, a couple of staircases that can slow the zombies down with some hatches, this location is pretty powerful, and because it is just a tier 1 location, it can be cleared on day 1, meaning that you can move in straight away. Finishing off this list is my all-time favourite, the MeMaw residence. I love this place. If I'm playing on Navezgane, this is the place that I come to for the first few hordes. It's located at 872 West, 612 North, and it is just a stone's throw away from Trade Direct. It's just over there. It does take a bit of work to get it in to sort of a horde ready situation. What I tend to do is I board up all of this area. I board up in that room, I board up there, I board up everywhere except for a pathway from the door to the stairs. I knock off the bottom 2 lots of stairs, and then I hunker down here and pick them off one by one. If things start getting a bit dicey, I run down here and I can leave. I do tend to break most of these stairs just to prevent zombies from getting up. But there's a few ways in and out for you, and only one way in and out for them, providing that you've sealed everything off and got rid of those stairs. Like I said, almost every single one of my playthroughs I've done on Navezgane, I've used this residence as my starter base. It's not particularly strong, but that doesn't really matter so much. At least, not in my experience, anyway. But they were my picks. Let me know what your favourite places are in the Forest Biome. I'm going to do the other biomes as well. As I've said throughout, these are just my picks. Feel free to disagree. Let me know what yours are, and heck, I might even try a couple of them out. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.